Hello and welcome to the Final Frontiersmen, a YouTube show about all things Trek with a heavy focus on the Star Trek Adventures role playing game by Modifius. I'm your host, Jeremy, and I'm joined by Liz, who is going to be
Hey,
showing up in our game as Lieutenant Megan James. Liz, thank you so much. I've been
uh,
really looking
oh,
forward to
that's
having
like,
you on the show. Yes. Oh, yes. We get a preview of what Lieutenant James is going to look like. And, I'm sure there's already been speculation about what her role is going to be on the ship and all that. Um, I'm sure our fans can't wait, though. Because we do. We're starting to get fans. That's blown my mind. We were talking earlier about that.
it's
So,
past 200.
it is. It is. Yes. And are you ready to start reading the fan mail as it comes in?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think no, it's great. I think
Yeah.
knowing other people are into this and enjoying Trek as we are, and you know, we're a big family. I think
I think
the Trek
so.
family.
It is. It's a huge family. It's a great family to be in. And what's a really neat thing to have a family is to have a uniform, right? So I'm continuing my show about having cosplay and tips and that sort of thing. I say show is more of a series that I've been starting. And again, thank you so much for participating. And I just kind of want to learn some things. But first of all, I want to kind of ask a question about you. What got you into Star Trek?
Well, um, I was in a galaxy far, far away, a long, long time ago. Um, sorry, wrong series.
It
Um,
is. I'll accept it.
no, but when I was young, um, I actually hadn't seen many sci-fi. What little I had seen, I loved, and randomly, um, changing channels on the TV one night, came across TNG, and what's this? Star Trek, Star Trek. Um, oh well, I'll watch it. It's sci-fi. I'm sure it'll be all right. And I got hooked. It's fantastic. I mean, the concepts that they deal with, the um, moral dilemmas, and just the. I mean, I love the attitude. Sorry, I don't know if you saw that, but that was my cat. Um, Jumped past the screen. Um, but I love the um, the world which Star Trek has. We as in humanity have risen above our petty differences and all that sort of stuff, and we are united. And there she is again.
I would say,
Um,
yeah. She's checking on things on the ship though while
yeah,
while
yeah,
you're
yeah.
busy, right?
She's.
It's always good to have
Um,
vacation on the ship. So.
I love the world of Star Trek, and it's actually, I think, greatly influenced how I see the world as an adult.
Okay.
Um, I try and treat people with respect. Doesn't matter who they are, what job they have. You know, we're all people. You know, um, we're all one in this world. So I think who I am as an adult is greatly influenced by Trek as a you know yeah as a series.
Yeah,
It
that's
is wonderful.
fantastic. Yeah, it really does give a really bright outlook on the future and where it goes. So yeah, that's a really good answer. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So when watching Star Trek, I know you've seen quite a bit of it. What is your favorite uniform? So we're going to start transitioning into the cosplay portion. Tell me a little bit about as you're seeing these uniforms. Is there one that stands out above all the rest that you feel that you like? Or
I do like the DS9, um,
okay, the
the
Nemesis
grey shoulders,
DS9. Yes.
um, I mean, I have to say that's probably my favorite.
Yes.
Um, I mean, I do like the Picard maneuver with the TNG era uniforms. Um,
Yes, there you go. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the
Um,
straightening up.
I think the TNG era was probably what I was going to try and go for first,
Hmm.
with a uniform. Clearly not. Um, this
I
is
gotcha.
the Picard era Raffi uniform.
Hmm.
Um, Not so much fond of the bright yellow, sort of almost fluorescent
Correct.
gold
Yeah.
there, as opposed to the the gold
Hmm.
there that the more gold yellow that you've got.
Right.
Um, but this is my first uniform, and I'll I'll get there and I'll get one that I like.
Okay. What was
It
it
is.
like? I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it is difficult, unfortunately, to find out there a good uniform that is my size and
Hmm.
female, um, because pretty much the only true female one I've seen is the Janeway uniform,
Uh huh.
and it's difficult to get even TNG era female uniforms that I've seen.
Sure.
So I mean, I saw your last one with all the links that you guys had, Bill and yourself put up, which was awesome. I'm certainly going to look at some of those when I get some money aside.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Cool. So
you were going to
that
ask?
actually sparks a question actually. So when we get into the TNG era, the because originally like the TOS, mostly the women wore like the skirts and that sort of
Yeah,
thing. But then when you get into the
the
TNG
60s
era,
mini.
yeah, the '60s mini, which it was there for a reason, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well, it's time of the fashion. It was, sorry, fashion of the time.
uh huh. Yeah, so
You know,
you get like the scants and that sort of thing. So I mean, are you? But then we get into back into Strange New Worlds. Now we get more of a dress uniform, but it doesn't strike me as I'm using I guess the term like just sexy, but it's got like professional military businesswoman look to it. So I mean, do you have a preference? I mean, do you like the just like the shirt and the pants, the slacks, I guess, or are you okay with the dress uniform?
um, oh look, I mean, I love it all really.
Mm-hmm.
The the tight uniforms that you see tending on certainly DS9. Um, I will admit it's been a little while since I've watched a bit of TNG, so I
Sure.
can't, other than Deanna Troy's, and um,
Yeah. Well, we had the
I
scant for a while, and
sort of
that
feel sorry for
disappeared.
her.
Right.
Um, but I mean, Star Trek's fortunately, unfortunately, whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it, always had it sort of. Um, they've always liked to put a bit of female, in something sexy, so that to draw that attention.
It sells.
Yeah,
Whether like it or not,
it's
it sells. I
exactly.
gotcha. So,
Um, and I've sort of spoken a little bit with Bill actually with some of the Jerry Ryan's 7 of 9,
mhm.
and um, sorry, getting us slightly off the uniform, but her character was originally, I suspect, if it wasn't put on there for sex appeal, then I don't know, but her character developed, I think, and had the biggest growth, character development out of any of the characters there, almost, I think.
I can see that, yeah,
Um,
because that was a transition for her, go from,
yeah,
the
that,
Borg drone that she was to the person that she is, even in Picard. Is even still Picard gave
yeah,
her, I felt like a more dramatic transition. So yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
I think she was
So
shows the great actress. But anyway, back to
yeah,
uniforms.
yeah. So tell me a little bit about like, so you just recently made this purchase for this uniform. Good choice, by the way. I would not.
Well, I mean, there's a few things I'm not terribly happy with, but
I gotcha. But
um,
tell me a little bit about what you felt like when when you put that uniform on, and you look in the mirror and like, oh my God, look at yourself. Like here you are, right?
well,
What was
it's
that like for you?
actually I'll go back to, but I'll come back to that if you don't
Okay,
mind.
yeah, please.
Um, when I was in my probably 20s, maybe early 30s, I went to my very first Star Trek convention here in Adelaide, and I, being a bit of a nerd, I loved, like I said, by then I loved anything sci-fi,
Uh-huh.
anything and everything sci-fi. So I was so keen to go to this convention. It's not much stuff comes to here to Adelaide.
Right.
Um, so anyway, I went there, and there were all these people walking around in Klingon uniforms with the full Klingon
Yeah. The
makeup
whole,
on and
yeah,
everything, like
yeah.
the ridges and everything. It was like,
Yes.
that
Wow.
is so cool.
Right.
Um, and I mean, sadly, I was actually too afraid then, because very self-conscious
Of
personally, but
course.
too afraid to run, to go up to them and say,
Mhm.
"Oh my God, I love that uniform. That is so amazing." I sort of wish I had now, but you know, it was just, and there were lots of humans with Starfleet uniforms as well, but
Sure.
you know, so I think, putting it on, it's there's a sense of, you know,
You, you stand a
pride
little taller.
almost. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Um, it kind of feels great, not from
Yeah.
a, um, I mean, it's, you might think, oh yeah, it's a uniform authoritarian, but it's not. It's like,
Mhm.
it just really feels great having this, you know, it makes you feel almost more part of Trek in a way, like you're
Yes.
there,
Right.
more immersive because you're in the uniform, and
Right.
you know,
It.
um,
Yeah. To me, it was like a symbol. If I could use that word, it was just like it symbolizes something, and I'm part
yeah,
of this idea. And as you mentioned earlier, this morality, this set of morality that Trek likes to follow. Okay, so that's incredible. So tell me a little bit about putting this uniform together. So if you now you're talking to somebody who has no idea what they're doing. Now you're talking to that audience that's like, hey, what do I need to do? I want to be just like Liz. Give us some ideas and some tips. Some of
you don't want to
the
be like me.
some of the luck you've had, some of the struggles and that sort of thing with putting that uniform together.
Well, I mean, this uniform itself um, is actually pretty basic.
Mm-hmm.
It Like I said, next time I do a uniform, it will be something I think a bit better.
Uh huh.
Um, like you've been talking about in your other videos, there's the attention to detail, and um, I think the next uniform I put together will be, I would like to hope, assuming I've got the money there available to do it, but I would like it to be far more closer to what we see
Mm-hmm.
on set, what we see in, depending on the uniform I get, either DS9. I mean, that's actually the one I'd like to get the most at the moment,
Uh huh.
is the DS9 uniform. Like I said,
Yes.
that's my favorite. Um, but I mean, even if I do um, the TNG era, which I quite like, even the early days of TNG with the scant, the sort of little mini. It wasn't a mini skirt, but it was
Right.
that little dress
It,
almost.
it was what it was. Yeah, and not all the ladies wore that. It's just, and some
No,
men
there was
wore
actually a
that.
few guys
Yes,
that walk
few.
around
Yeah,
in it.
some men did. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that too.
You know,
I always like, yeah, that's great. I love that.
well, I think as a young sort of trans person,
Hmm.
seeing that sort of stuff was actually kind of cool for me too. And
Yeah.
that's the other thing I like about Trek, is it's very accepting as to um, the world that they're in. Is everyone's welcome.
Uh-huh.
You know,
I could see where that would
um,
feel empowering to you
yeah.
to say, I get that,
So
like, wow,
you know,
that's okay.
the Trek world
Wow.
is
Uh huh.
is all inclusive, and it's you know for me. I mean, I grew up. Sorry.
I've got a
Um,
Cation. Yeah, we'll interview that Cation later. She
yeah,
needs to put her uniform
her
on though.
yeah, she needs to put a uniform on, but yeah, growing up in I mean, the world I grew up in is wasn't too bad here in Australia. We
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing isn't too bad. But it's still great knowing that everyone is accepted. Come on.
Sure.
Even the Cations are accepted. No, but it's
Even the
great knowing that
occasions.
everyone is accepted. But in terms of where to start, I mean, I've just bought little things here and there.
Hmm.
Um, my so back in the day when I bought my, you probably can't see those, but my Modifius wonderful dice.
Ah, okay.
Um, at the same time, I bought my first piece of, um, it's not really Trek uniform, well, it kind of is, but
Uh-huh.
the magnetic back um, Voyager badge. So it was
Okay.
just one thing first, and when I had the money, and then what did I buy next? I think the pins I've got, um, and then yeah, just recently was the uniform. So it's just, I mean, some of this stuff can be quite costly, but I think if you have an idea of what you want, um, I mean, the idea of buying it all at once is cool, and if you can afford that, awesome.
Hmm.
But there's no harm in buying bits and bobs as you go
Right.
and building your uniform.
Yeah,
Um,
I can
and
I
that's
can agree with that.
sort of what I'm doing. Like I said, I got this one when I joined the Star Trek Adventures game with you guys. Um, I brought this one because I thought, oh well, I'm going to have to be on camera there. I haven't actually yet been on camera yet, just voice.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, I think, like I said, next time it's going to be a bit more. I'll have the patience to buy the bits and do it a bit
Hmm.
more slowly, rather than just go, oh my god, I need a uniform. Um, that one's cheap. I'll get that. Um, take your time. Take your time.
Yeah,
There's,
absolutely. I really
um,
enjoy that advice right there too because it's similar to what I'm going to go through because I plan on doing another video soon just about a single uniform and Bill and I discussed the Monster Maroon in our previous and I think that that uniform alone deserves its own video
mm,
because you want to talk about just little details and pieces that's just so much to put together to make it look right.
yeah.
So yeah, and that so I really do. I like that advice. So just take your
Well,
time.
there's no harm having, a couple of uniforms maybe that are just, they're a bit more slapped together, and hey, it's a uniform, it's not perfect,
Right,
but hey,
right.
it's there, it's there. And then perhaps, like you said, having that uniform that is, the uniform.
That's your dress
Um,
uniform. Right.
yeah, exactly. It's the. Funnily enough, I was actually just about to say that myself.
Uh huh.
So yeah, um, it is. It's your dress uniform. It's the one that's
Sure.
going to be as close to perfect as you can, as you can make it.
Right.
Um, so I think it's like I said. I mean, I'm not. There's a few things I don't like about this one, the color, and things like that. The patch, the badges sewn in.
Okay,
Um,
so it's like an embroidered
yeah,
patch. Is that something you feel like you could like remove? Could you just take a perhaps it's like a what do they call it? A seam ripper and just
yeah,
rip that completely out?
potentially feeling around it. Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
I got you. Right, so it's
but
upgradable, right? Yeah, you can
yeah,
take
yeah,
your
yeah.
time and upgrade it.
But like I said, I mean, there's no harm in having that sort of uniform that's not perfect. Um, for if you're going to a con and it's going to be a long, busy day, um,
Right.
having one that you don't mind, because let's face it, they do get quite warm inside these things.
They're hot. So I'm
Uh,
convinced that on the starships, it's got to be 40 degrees consistently.
yeah,
It's got to be
they've got to have
really
some
cold.
really good air conditioners going. When life
Absolutely.
support goes, it's not actually the
Okay.
suffocation that gets them; it's the heat.
Right. So take your time and just make sure that uh, it doesn't have to be all at once. I like that.
Yeah.
That's really good advice. So gold. What made Liz buy gold? You have your red, you have your blue, and your gold, and now
Uh,
Trek is starting to kind of get into like the medical white and the medical light blue. So, what makes you go with the gold?
Um, I I mean, I've always liked engineering, the concept of
Mm,
engineering, at least anyway from a Star Trek
right.
um, point of view. I'm not an engineer by any means here in the real world. But
Sure.
I look, it would have either been engineering or um, the blue science. Both
Okay.
of those I quite like.
Hmm.
Um, but playing a chief engineer at the moment, kind of. Um, I think she's technically actually acting chief engineer. Um, I thought, well, I really have to go gold uniform if I'm going to be on camera with the game. So I thought, well, that's primarily the reason I got gold for now.
Uh-huh.
But I think uh, I have nothing against the red or anything like
Oh,
that.
sure.
Um,
Yeah. I gotcha.
some of those red, I mean, um, Cisco looks amazing
He
in his
does.
red uniform, the
He
DS9
does. Yeah. He carries
red.
that uniform very well.
Oh, he does.
He does.
Um, I do think actually he's probably my favorite captain,
Hmm.
very closely followed
Really good
by
choice.
Picard.
Yes. Really
Hey,
good choice. Yeah. I think
yeah.
so. Yeah.
Um,
All right. That's
I mean,
great.
it's funny because when it first came out, I actually didn't like Voyager.
Mm.
Weirdly, it's only many years later that I've started rewatching it and actually gone, why didn't I like this? It's
I gotcha.
what was it about this that I didn't that just
Uh huh.
irked me? But
Yeah.
it's weird because I love Voyager now too.
Voyager's a fun
Sadly,
show.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, good concept too. I mean, I quite like that, and
Mm.
the Intrepid class, beautiful ship.
All right. Absolutely. So that's cool. So do you have any closing things that you would like to bring up, or any other tips that you'd like to bring in for the people watching? Maybe if you had someone to say, hey, I'm thinking about getting my uniform. I'm still a little nervous because, oh man, what if somebody else say? Just any final advice before we go?
Well, I think if you can afford it. I mean, obviously, don't jump into this sort of stuff if you can't afford it. If you've got
Uh
other
huh.
things you need to pay for, but life is short. Um,
This is true.
and like I've sort of touched on it before. I mean, I'm highly self-conscious myself, and I regret not um, going up to those Trekkies in my early days and
Uh huh.
asking them so many questions and everything like that and getting into this earlier. But yeah, one of the things I've learnt recently in my life, unfortunately, the unfortunate way, but won't go into that, is life is short and you do need to sometimes just jump at things, you know. Um, so yeah, I think don't and just do.
Uh huh.
Like Yoda says, there is no try. There is do or do not.
Who? I'm just kidding.
Yoda.
I'm just playing.
Ah, it's
That's really good advice,
sorry, a
though.
bit slow. Didn't catch on to
It's
that before.
okay.
Well, what?
No. Fantastic advice. I really do appreciate that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me and to
No, welcome.
share what you feel. It's really, really good advice, and it very much was. It's been amazing. But anyway,
I
guys.
think too, actually, just one more thing.
Yes, please.
Um, Trekkies are typically, I think, a great bunch of people and very accepting. So
Yes.
you might be nervous to put on the uniform and go out in public.
Hmm.
But if you're surrounded by Trekkies, um, all you're going to get is people going, "Oh my God, that's great."
This is true.
Um,
I can agree with that. Yes. I
so
can vouch for that.
yeah, um, don't be nervous when you're around Trekkies. You'll be around family.
That's correct. It is. As much con going as I do, it's just incredible. Like even seeing someone that I don't even speak to, I'm going to one panel. This person's going to something else, and we spot each other. We're both in uniform, and 8 out of 10 times we is Vulcan salute and just
Yeah.
smile and just keep going because that's family, right?
Yeah.
It's so good. But yeah, I agree. Well, again, thank you so much, guys. Please, if you guys have any questions about cosplay or anything like that, please reach out to us. Let us know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you yourself want to be interviewed, please let me know. I would love to talk to you. Uh, Bill would love to talk to you too. And again, thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate you. And as always, live on and prosper.